Hello, everybody. My name is Will Johnson. I want to thank you for watching. We are actually streaming live on YouTube, and we're streaming live on Facebook as well. Please go to our YouTube channel if you want to get a different viewing experience there. And also, we're on Facebook as well. I want to thank Jamal, the mind of Jamal. I want to thank you again. Actually, everyone, I had Jamal on with me last night, and we did get to finish talking about everything that we wanted to talk about. When we had so much to talk about, so I asked him to come on again tonight. And with the information with Donald Trump saying that he's moving the embassy suite to Jerusalem, I said, Jamal, please come back on with me, because there's stuff we still need to talk about. I still want to get into the black community. Should they or should they not support Trump, et cetera, et cetera. So without further ado, Jamal, thank you for joining me again.
Thank you, Will, for having me back. Last night, I was so excited to be talking to you and experiencing really live for the first time, and that I kind of went rambling and we couldn't get to the points. And I was like, no, I got to come back so we can see here, we can talk and address some of those things that we addressed some of them, but those other things about how can a black community take the skin off their eyes and see the truth. And especially with today's events with President Trump moving the embassy back to Jerusalem, recognizing Jerusalem as the true capital of Israel, which everyone knew it, but somehow Arab nations get to decide another nation's capital, and if it's recognized. And he finally kept a promise that other presidents had been broken. Even Jeb Bush tweeted out.
Sure did. And a lot of people thought Jeb Bush was going to do it. He sure did. A lot of people thought Jeb Bush, when not Jeb Bush, but when Bush Jr. went in, they thought that Bush was going to actually make it happen, but he never did. And see, to me, and now I never did really care for Bush. And even today, he kind of goes out of his way and undermine our current president. So, I mean, a lot of people, it should be a wake-up call to a lot of people that Bush was part of the establishment as well. So, I mean, so it's what an awesome time to be alive, to see these different events take place. It is amazing.
It is amazing to see the media as well so shocked and so in distraught that a president is keeping his campaign promises.
Yes.
I watched CNN right on about an hour or two with Eric Burnett She was trying to make fun of President Trump because when he was over there, he said Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and he said that she was trying to make it look like as if he didn't know what he was talking about with the ambassador of to Israel from the United States. And he totally defended President Trump. He says, no, he knows what's going on. Then they tried to say, well, he was so shocked by President Trump's comment. He was like, no, my hat had flew off my head and the sand got in my hair. So I'm sitting up here trying to brush the sand off. And she kept with this attack on President Trump because CNN just got to find something to keep their fake news going strong. They don't even talk about the FBI agent whom that's the Department of Justice got 10,000 of his text messages to show how anti-Trump he is and how influential he was to the Hillary Clinton investigation, and he is one of Mueller's investigators.
Yeah.
And the CNN haven't even talked about it.
And they're not going to.
No.
They're not going to, because that just blows their whole narrative out the water. This whole agenda that they're trying to undermine the president, basically they're attacking the president. And it'll blow it all out the water. They don't want people to pay attention to that. You're absolutely right.
See, they were not used to a Republican that fought back, won't apologize for fighting back, and kept his promises to his base. And let me say this real quick, Will. The base of the Republican Party, the Donald Trump supporter, are not racist. They are not bigoted.
Nope.
We are, when you come to a Make America Great rally, you get the love. When I was there for the first time to do a speech, the first time I did a speech, they were worried about my wife, my children, making sure they was okay. You know, they stood around then after the speech because they had a few protesters. They were like, hey, we'll walk you to your car because, man, we don't want nothing to happen to you. And I'm like, I'll take care of myself. I'll defend myself. And when you see this video, I text you about did you ever see the music video?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
In this video,
I'm gonna get my producer to search on that while we're doing this.
It's on YouTube. It's called "I'm Not Racist." That's the video. It's "I'm Not Racist," and they make it look like a Trump supporter who's white just got to say nigga. This is basically, he just came, and I'm like, this is what they're putting out to the black community to say, this is your Trump supporter. Oh, listen to what he got to say about the things about, hey, you need to pull your pants up, you need to get a job, and you need to take responsibility. But he had to say, nigga, this is what he feels in his heart. I'm like, you know what? I have been called, like I told you, I've been called the nigga. I don't know if it's going to be edited out, so I'll say the N-word. I've been called the N-word by white liberals than Republicans, which is just horrible.
You know what? You're right. You know what? When I hold on. Did you close them? I think you closed this feed. Jamal, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you loud and clear, Will.
I think it was private.
Okay. Yeah, my producer moved you.
Okay. But Will, I got so mad when I saw that video.
You know what? You're right. Let me say this real quick. When I consider myself a Democrat, this is going to touch right on exactly what you're talking about. When I used to consider myself a Democrat, God help me, I don't know how I used to do that. But I used to consider myself a Democrat, and I would have these conversations on social media with people who call themselves conservatives or Republicans. They never called me these hateful, racist, bigoted names. Never did. Now, they would say that I'm confused, or they said, dude, you don't understand. You're not looking at all the facts, blah, blah, blah. And I have to admit today, they were absolutely right. I was confused. I was not looking at the facts. I didn't pay attention. And then when I became a conservative, when I finally, my eyes opened up, and it took me moving to California for that happening for me. When I moved here to California, my eyes were opened up and I became a conservative, and the way Obama was doing stuff, it was just ridiculous. And then I started having conversations with those that are liberals, Democrats, progressives, they called me some of the most hateful, racist, bigoted names ever. And I learned some. And it came from black liberals and white liberals. I mean, they are the most racist people on the planet.
And like we was talking last night, when you see what President Trump is actually doing for the black community, for the black community, with jobs, low unemployment, trying to get us better education, he gave $25 billion to the black colleges, doing things that's going to put blacks back to work, put us, it's embarrassing to say this, Will, but we need, as the black community, we need to get back to the level of the 1980s, because looking at the black community, it's so much violence, so much drugs, and the community don't care.
It is, and they separated, and the liberal Democrat have destroyed the black family. And that was by design. It was by design. And not only have they done it to the black community, they're doing it to the brown community, and they are doing it to the white community as well. They've done it to people across the board to try to keep everybody to be submissive to the government, to look at the Democratic Party as the party for everybody, which is a complete lie.
If you look at their tent, they always say Republicans need a big tent. Okay, in the Republican Party, you have those who support gay marriage; they got a voice. Right. Those who are pro murder, which is abortion, they got a voice in the Republican Party. And I said this before: name me one prominent Democrat that is against gay marriage and will openly say it, or is pro-life that will openly say it, or is pro-religious freedom and will openly say it. Don't come to the churches. Don't come to the community center and say you are. Show me with your vote and with your voice on CNN and MSNBC that you are pro-life, pro-marriage.
They don't do it.
Show me that, and they won't.
They don't do it. They do quite the opposite. They're pro-death. They're pro-killing the child, even after the child is born, you know. And Hillary Clinton said up to the minute of birth, right before the child is coming out the birth canal, kill it. She literally said that. You can kill it right up until birth. So they're completely. Yes. And then the Democratic Party. Now to mind you, there are people, Republicans, that are pretty much sickos too. But Democrats, they will openly support this group MAMBLA, the Man Boy Love Association. They will openly support it. And you don't see conservative. Now, there might be some Republicans might be dipping and dapping in that way, but they don't openly do it. You know what I'm saying? They don't go out saying celebrating it. But you do from the Democratic Party all day.
Let me make 2 points. A lot of people don't know that if you looked up a lot of gay pride parades and things like that, NAMBLA was behind it. They had big input in those parades. Mm-hmm. Second, if you look at the Democrats, how they treat the black community and the Latino community, is smart. They will not give the 90% of their support like the black community. The Democrats have to go in there. They're lucky if they get 6. I think Barack Obama got 67%. Mitt Romney got 30-something. But look at that, 30% now. And here's something like a third point. The Democrat Party, you say what you want to about illegals. They have the Republican Party and the Democrat Party fighting each other. I mean, the Republican Party, and some of the Republicans are trying to do amnesty for illegals because they split their vote. Now, take a look at the black community. You have the black community complaining about they can't get jobs and the system is holding them back, but you won't see one Democrat push about felons getting jobs and like if you've been a felon, been working, you haven't did anything, been a model citizen for 7 years. They didn't talk about that till Hillary Clinton ran, but when they had the House and Senate, they didn't care about the black men who have turned their life around and getting themselves back in the system. So that goes to show you right there that the Latino community can say, we want people here illegally to be U.S. citizens, and they have people that listen. But the black community, they always, we're saying our young youth and our citizens, we can't get things to help them better like that, right, to help them out once they turn their life around. We can't. So that goes to show you the power of not jumping fully behind someone else, some party.
Yep. Let me tell you a story. This story was told to me by, I'm not going to say who it was, but it was told to me by someone that was extremely close to me. So this person would not lie to me. Okay. So, I'm just going to say it. This was told to me by my mother. Okay. So I have no reason to deny or not believe what my mother was telling me. She told me that she went to church. And she's a black woman, and she went to church, and it's one of these churches, they'll run up down the aisle. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. They run up and down the aisle. It's one of those. They'll run up and down, which is fine. Do your thing. But they were telling me, she was telling me that the preacher was at the podium talking, saying that this was right after the election. This is right after the election, 2016, that we just have to be mindful, and we have to remind everybody that God is in control and God has his hands on everything. So don't worry. You have to understand God is in control. God will take care of this. And then my mom was telling me, she was sitting there, and while they're doing this, they're praying. Yeah. He's saying a prayer, saying, God, we know the election, blah, 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 blah. And they're praying. And my mom, she said, this would really disturbed her. She's sitting there, and this lady behind her said that I hope somebody assassinate him. In church.
The same exact thing happened here. My wife's church, because my wife had just had my daughter, and of course she couldn't go out to the hospital, so I took my daughter to visit, go to my wife's church so she could see her grandparents, and then I go to my church. And they were in there acting like there was a funeral that had taken place all because Donald Trump had won. And I'm thinking to myself, do you actually know what's exactly. Why are you acting as if the whole world has come to the end, or you just found out somebody backed over your puppy in this morning right before you came to church in the driveway?
Exactly.
Why are you so hurt and so shocked? And let me listen to this, Will. I remember Saturday Night Live, they did this sketch about, we all Americans after the election, let's come together, when they thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. Now it's all changed. But you know what, Will? That was just so embarrassing seeing folk, you in church, praising God, but just because President Trump won and the person whom he defeated sat there is for openly abortion, open gay marriage, believe that the church you shouldn't have prayer in school, lost. I'm like, you people really backwards.
Yeah. For me, it's sickening that you have these people, they call themselves Christians. They literally call themselves Christians, like they support God. But then they turn around and then they support someone who came out in the WikiLeaks, John Podesta emails, how Hillary Clinton was openly Satanist. And then even Michelle Obama here in LA There's a library here in LA with Michelle Obama. They had this Satanist come in there, it had the look like a goat head, everything. Satanist reading storybooks to children. And these are the black people and they say you're supposed to support her because she's black. I mean, literally, I've had black people tell me you're supposed to support Obama because he's black. And Michelle Obama because she's black. But then they literally doing this Satanist thing. And then you have these same black people call themselves Christians, go up in the church, running up and down the aisle. Yeah, And then they say in the name of Jesus, and they screaming and everything. But then they turn around and support a Satanist. I don't understand it. I mean, we are literally in the end times and they're doing this. Go ahead.
I'll say this. I've said in a couple of my videos, the biggest hypocrisy is in the black community. The black church has one of the major areas of hypocrisy.
Yes, sir.
Because Democrats write a little check to those preachers and those pastors in them churches to get them to come in, and they come in and they don't stand on principle. Because here's the thing. They so worried about losing their salary because they got welfare and you got Medicaid that the church is supposed to be doing. The Lord Jesus Christ, who is God Almighty, told the apostles, the poor, ye shall have amongst you. He didn't say the government. So what the churches are doing is allowing the government to do their job. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
So he can keep his little salary, which he don't supposed to be getting in the first place. So this is what they're doing. They will support somebody to give them the free stuff so the church won't have to spend their money, which they're supposed to be doing, feeding the community so they can witness to the community and be out there. But that money is staying inside.
Yeah,
where it should.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it happens all over the country. And then that's why, like you said last night, how when you went out to the hallway and how they're telling the congregation, they're telling the people coming to church who to vote for. And all of them are listed as Democrats. And all of them push this whole story that the Republican Party is the party for white people, which is a lie. The Republican Party is for Americans. Every time, and you know what, when I consider myself a crazy Democrat, which God forgive me, that when I would talk to, when I look at the Republicans and when they would talk, they would never try to talk about people, separation. They will talk about people as a whole. Now, they did talk about statistics where black people did certain things or black people voted a certain way and stuff like that, because they all talk about it. But it's the Democratic Party that literally try to say that black people are not going to vote for Donald J. Trump. And this should be insulting to women. This should be completely insulting to women. They said only intelligent women would vote for Hillary Clinton. Non-intelligent women will only vote for Donald J. Trump. So if that's not insulting to women, I don't know what is. They're insulting the intelligence of women, saying that if you're voting for Trump, you're not intelligent. To me, that is completely crazy. Why they would even say that. And they always do that to try to divide all of us based on sex, nationality, religion, your color, whatever it is. They use that as a crutch to try to divide all of us.
When CNN and MSNBC broke down a poll, how many college-educated women support this, or how many college-educated, they put educated as if the only way to be educated is to have a college degree. I've said it before. Yep. Nothing wrong with having a college degree, but however, if you have someone who didn't go to college, they went to the military, have a 25, 30-year career in the military, or someone went and worked in a factory, or they became a electrician, HVAC, cement, brick mason, insulation installer, plumber. They are just as educated. They're making money to feed their family. So this in the Democrat Party separates people and establish themselves as this also high and mighty elitist party, to where the point is they really don't care about one thing and one thing only: keeping power and making sure they're traitorous, ideology and their traitorous mentality is what is in the majority, because they can't win when the people show up and they can't be intimidated or insulted.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I love the fact that I woke up and I see the truth and I see what's actually happening. And I love the fact that I'm a black man and I support Donald J. Trump. And it has nothing to do because he's a white man. It has everything to do because he's doing the right thing for this country. For him to hold, for him to keep to his word, saying that I'm going to move the embassy to Jerusalem is powerful. Me as a Christian, I've been waiting for a president. I'm like, you know what? Are we ever going to get a president that's going to be strong enough to have the kahunas, to have the balls to do it? And here it is. We have a president that go across the world that is respected by the rest of the world. And here's a president that's actually doing it. And he's not doing it for white people. He's not doing it for black people. He's not doing it for Christian. He's not doing it for Jews. He's doing it because it is the right thing to do.
Well, this is why he was elected. Under Obama, if you go to another country, yes, other countries have customs. However, you are an American. So your American was how you were, the country that you are, that you grew up in, that you were born in, those customs you should do. And when Obama down to the Saudi king and bowed all the way down to the Japanese prime minister, yes, okay, that may be their culture, but you are an American.
Yeah.
And you don't supposed to sit there and have that type of image. You are portraying that you are subservient to that person. Let me go back to a point you made, Will. When you was talking about Michelle Obama, when she came here to North Carolina Central University here in Durham, North Carolina, she was talking to the students, and she was like, go talk to you. When Barack Obama was being reelected, she was like, go talk to your cousin, you know what I'm saying, like, she was talking like she hood. But listen to this, go to Greenville in ECU, and she used her Harvard educated, how she would talk if she was talking. Democrats come to black colleges and black folk, and they sit here act like that everyone black say, "Oh, we's is ties," and "Oh, what we's do." Right. They call those cartoons racist. But Democrats get to come to the black community and do this, but they go to other communities and they make sure that type of dialogue or dialect isn't used. So what was Michelle Obama, Joe Biden, and Hillary Clinton all saying about black folk?
Yep, the same thing. You know, Al Gore did the same thing. Hillary Clinton did the same thing. Yep. And to me, I'm like, how is it you're gonna be like you're all black, your blackness and everything? And you know good and well when they come into the church and they start talking like that, how is it not insulting? How is that not insulting? I mean, would it not be insulting if I went to a predominantly white church and I try to talk completely different than who I am? That should be insulting to anybody. And then they sit there and they still support them. See, this is the mentality of these black people. They still support them when they go in there and they know they blatantly don't ever talk like that. Y'all, come on now. Y'all hear me now? I mean, seriously, how is that not insulting? When I saw it, I was like, are you kidding me? Now, Donald Trump went to a black church and he straight up said, what the do you got to lose? I was like, you know what? And a lot of people say he's right. We've been voting this way for years. What do we got to lose? And if they wake up and they see right now with all the changes in this country, all the positive changes, even not just the black community, but the changes all throughout the country. They're like, you know what? We didn't have nothing to lose. We have more to gain by going with Donald J. Trump as our president, even in 2020, than we do any of these liberal Democrats that's literally trying to destroy this country.
Yes, and to get back to the dialect and dialogue, when many in the black community, and as you well know, Will, they say you talking white.
Oh, yeah.
If you talk educated.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a high vocabulary.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're talking white. So now you have these politicians that are coming into the community, and they are portraying that very belief that when you come to the black community, like there aren't black doctors and black lawyers who don't use that dialect because they see that dialect as broken English, so they don't use it. They are proud of their education. Yep. They are proud of the steps they did to improve their vocabulary. So they're not going to be like, yeah, I mean, yo, what up? They're not going to be talking like that. So when you come at them, you're insulting them and the strides and the hardship they did to acquire or what they did to acquire a high vocabulary and a certain dialect that is business and professional.
Exactly.
But they get away with it because the leaders, quote unquote, in the black community allow them.
Yeah, and you know what? Those leaders in the black community, they participate. They actually encourage people to be that and to think that way. You know, I don't understand. Like you said, we got Jesse Jackson. Well, he's supposed to be a leader, which I don't consider him a leader at all. He's just someone that's go out and grab money. Then you got Reverend Al Sharpton, another one. He's the same thing. And they always show up. They only show up when there's been like a police officer or somebody white committed in some kind of conflict or crime with a black person. Why is it they only show up with black people? How come they don't show up when white people have issues? There's a female right now, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people heard about this story. In Southern California right now, there's a young girl, or there was a young girl. I believe she was the age of 14 or 13. She was getting bullied every day at school. Her parents moved out of the hood into this good neighborhood so that their children could get a better education and have a better life. Well, the little girl was going to school every day getting bullied to the point she started cutting herself to ultimately hanging herself in her room. Where is Jesse Jackson at? This should be. I'm on my way down to San Diego Friday, and for the life of me, I want to stop by the school and do a live in front of the school if it's not out the way. I mean, to bring attention. How come? What is the problem here? And then the bullies going on. Where's the ACLU? This was a young girl. Where the kitty cat hat women at for this young lady that was bullied to the point to where she wanted to kill herself? Where are they at? How come it's only when it's against Donald J. Trump or when someone white is involved doing something with somebody black? And see, that's the only time, because other than that, BLM, Black Lives only matter when someone white or a cop is involved. That's it. The hypocrisy is ridiculous. Well, and that's what's happening across the country.
It's happening so much that some people are actually taking notice and making a joke about it. I don't know, a few years back, you remember black kids was going around playing something called the knockout game.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
They were walking out, George Zimmerman getting his head pounded in.
No,
they don't talk about how the police had initially told George Zimmerman, what is he doing? Watch him. They don't talk about how George Zimmerman went back. So they really don't care about facts or things that say, hey, this is what you're doing. Because the mentality of Trayvon Martin is prevalent in the black community. And too many of our young boys have that mentality. That's why we have gang violence as high as we do. Yep. That's why we have black murder like we do. Yep. Because this ignorant mentality, you have ignorance on this side, you have ignorance on that side, and it's colliding. And when it collides, it's going to be nothing but destruction.
Exactly. And you know what? They go along with everything that the media says. That it's white people this, white people that, as if white people have been causing all the problems in the country. And they're trying to blame white people for everything. You know, for the past 2 years, I've been saying there's a war on white people in America, and a lot of people don't even realize it. And I'm saying you better wake up to what's actually happening here. And the reason why I was saying that, because they came up with this whole white privilege, They're trying to say, yeah, exactly. When Donald J. Trump won the presidency, what's his name? Van Jones talking about this is a white lash. This is a white lash. This is a white lash. Oh my goodness, a white lash. Like he getting his lashes. Pow! This is a white lash. Pow! You know, I mean, that's the way he was acting. He crying. They all crying and carrying on. And I'm like, to me, when I saw them crying, all I could think about, man, this is like tears of joy. I mean, because Donald J. Trump winning. You know, and I tell people, I say, you know what, Donald J. Trump winning the presidency is so much better, not just for white people, but it's better for black people and brown people. And it's just a lot of people don't even realize it. And then when I tell people that, they get upset with me. And so when I was in Sacramento, and I think I touched on it last night. I can't remember if we were on air or off air when we were talking about it, but I was there, and there was this black guy there, and he was mad at me because I was supporting our vice president. And I straight up told him, I said, you know what, dude? I said, you know what, you got shackles on your hands and your feet.
Oh, yeah, that's what you said last night.
I said, you got shackles on your hands and your feet. And I said, what's surprisingly about those shackles that you don't realize, there's no locks on them. And then when I said, let me take the shackles off, they get mad at me. So no, don't take these off. I want these shackles on. I like being this mentality. I like being dependent. And I don't like the fact that you sitting there thinking for yourself. And then they call me all of these hateful names, start calling me racial names. And I have to admit, I'm guilty. I started participating, getting back with them. And I said, you know what? If you're going to have that mentality, and I probably shouldn't have said that. I said, if you're going to have that mentality, find your slave ship and get back on it and go to Africa. I straight up told him that. And then I told him, and he running around, he get mad at me. I said, is that cotton? I said, that cotton on your back, did you pick it? I mean, because if you're going to have that slave mentality, I'm going to treat you like that. I mean, I'm so sick of black people being victims to something of their own circumstance. I don't blame anybody for my own mistakes.
I actually sat there. I had a debate with someone. I told them, stop licking the boot of your Democrat slave master.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
The Democrats got their slaves back.
Yep.
And you are so right about that. Harriet Tubman said that when they was talking to her, they was talking about how many slaves she had freed. And she said, I would have freed more if they only realized that they were slaves. Slave mentality. And here's the thing. You hear people talk about the slave mentality because I'm sure out in California you have these people called 5%ers or God bodies. And they say anyone who think again, anyone who don't think like the majority of these ignorant black folk in the community is a slave mentality. But when you sit there and you ask them about stuff, everything they say is fresh out of the Democrat playbook. They have no mind, they have no reasoning, and it's straight out of the victimhood card to where they want to set responsibility. And I said this before. So if white folk is the problem, and I said, if white people is the problem, explain this to me. And I told the guy, I said, explain this to me. 77% of all black children are born out of wedlock.
Yep. Out
of that 77%, 60% are single mothers. Now listen to this, Will. 92% of all interracial couples, where the father is black, is out of wedlock birth. 92% when the father is black. 80% of those women, if the father are black, is a single mother. So if you look at on the other side, if the interracial couple and the mother is black and the father is of another race, the out of wedlock birth drops dramatically. The single motherhood drops dramatically. And I sat there and said, if there's a slave mentality, it's in our community that they have pushed on black men, and it's prevalent and it's going stronger to the point to where if you wait till you are married to have that is considered strange.
See, yeah, it is. It's absolutely crazy. And they push that. You know, they push the opposite of that. They push it that, hey, have babies, no man in the household, and will take care of you. That's like one of the number one ways to break down the family unit, to destroy the family unit. And they're not just doing it to black people, but it's predominantly black people because they've been doing it for years and years and years. And you know what's really amazing? Everything that we're sitting here saying is all of it's true. And I haven't looked, but if there's like trolls on my feed right now, they're highly upset by what we're saying right now, because everything we're saying is true, and they don't want to hear the truth because the truth hurts, because they're so content. They're happy in that little bubble, that little safe space where they think it's safe, and they're not doing for themselves. And we're always doing is saying stuff to tell people to wake up, be your own person, be your own man, do for yourself, be somebody. You cannot blame somebody for holding you back. And I do everything I can for Will Johnson and Will Johnson's family. And I know that you do the same for your family, because that's who we are. If you're black and you call yourself, not even just black, you black, you white, you brown, and you call yourself a Christian, and you believe what you're supposed to be doing as a Christian man, you're supposed to take care of your family. And I think I was telling you last night,
yes.
And I don't remember if I told you this on camera off either, but I'm gonna say it again. When I was hanging out in the hood one time, there was this guy there, and he made a statement talking about, you are not a man until you go to the penitentiary. And for the life of me, when he said that, I said, you know what? It took everything in me not to say something. What makes you a man is taking care of your family. What makes you a man is making sure that your family have lights, water, food on the table, and can go to school. That was make you a man, not going to prison. And it's that mentality in the hood. So all the men going to prison, the women are outside making all these babies, having babies, getting government subsidies, and they're making a career out of it.
They're not only making a career, they're training children. They are bringing children up to be future inmates or future dependent. And when a black child breaks out of it, a lot of people say, I know sometimes when we have to get into these subjects, especially when you're talking to another black person who's a conservative, and we get into these subjects, we let people know, hey, I'm not saying it's not just black folk, but people understand that as black men, if you don't look at the state of the black community and cannot have the shock and awe, like, what are we doing? People understand that. So when we say, when we talk about it, yes, we understand other communities are falling apart, but look at how our community, as two black men, we are watching the self-destruction. Now, some communities are fighting back against it, because you look at the Latino community, I work in construction field, Will, and when working in construction field, I see Latinos, guys who are plumbers, put on the sidings and roofer. They bring their children out there to the job so they can pick up, if they're loose siding, they pick that up, or if it's shingle on the roof, they pick those things up to work, to instill a work ethic. These are the fathers that we're working with, and sometimes it's the women who are doing it as well. On the wife team, there are electricians. So on the weekend, they bring their kids.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. Oh, you stay in the house, you stay and watch TV. Now, anybody with common sense know me and you are not saying all black folk do this. There are some that do instill these properties. But what many who are ignorant, they want to say, he's saying all black folk. Common sense know we're not saying all, but majority, yes.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Majority of the black community, they do exactly that thing. So let me see, my producer gave me, what do you think needs to happen to wake up black people? That's a good question. What do you think needs to happen to wake up black people?
In order for us to really wake up, we have to, want to wake up.
That's true.
We have to be able,
That's true.
It has to start at church. has to stop being a political platform and just be the church called truth, and a lie. And if that politician happened to have an R by his name and he believes in what the church believes, do it. To turn this country, to turn the black community around, this self-destruction took over 60 years.
Yeah.
It's going to take over 60 years to get us back, because those who won't accept the truth, and in that mentality, the same as what God did to the children of Israel in wilderness, those that are ignorant must eventually get old, pass away, so that way a new mentality can raise up, so people can see. Because when people want to accept high employment, not high unemployment, but high employment, jobs, you have high-paying jobs, you getting raises. Yeah. When they will recognize that as what this president doing, but the only thing they want to talk about is a Democrat talking point that he's racist, then you are willfully and ignorantly blind.
Yeah.
You want to be blind.
And you know what? And they do. And they don't want to hear anything else other than the lie that they've been told. And it's because to them, they hear the lie and they like it because the lie feels good to them, and they fester on it and they thrive on it, and that's the only thing they want to hear. You know, for example, it's just like when they came out talking about Trump, they had proof that Trump told Flynn during the campaign to collude with Russia, and they got all excited about it. And then after they had to do a retraction on it because they came from ABC. After they had to do a retraction on it, there was still some liberal media outlets running the story. And what happens is that people hear that lie initially, and then everything else after that doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if they retracted. They've already said it. And then when you ask people, do you think that Russia actually colluded? Or do you think Trump actually colluded with Russia? They'll be like, yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They have proof. It was Flynn. I mean, and you know what? And I know I'm kind of getting off a little bit subject here, but it's the whole brainwashing thing, how they brainwash black people, brown people, even white people to believe all of this craziness. So how do you think we can get more black people to realize that the Republican Party, and it's not all of them, because there's some in the Republican Party right now that absolutely disgust me, because they go against our president. But let me say it like this. How do we get more black people to become more conservatives, Christian conservatives? Because we're at a stage in this country right now to where we're not fighting Democrats and Republicans. We're fighting good versus evil.
One, you went to the key point. When you're saying you're fighting good versus evil, you are talking about the church must step in. Number two, when you're talking about the media, the same way I've said it before, the same way they have, quote unquote, smart gun control, they need to hold the media accountable, and they need to have liability. So when they produce a lie, instead of checking the source, when they run a lie, they can be sued. Yeah. Here in the South, I don't know if she's on TV wheel. You have them so focused. Here's what the NAACP and these so-called black leaders do. When blacks recognize the failures of these so-called leaders and the inadequacies, what they're doing, they give us a whole new something to focus on, to get us emotionally. Oh, now here in North Carolina is Confederate statues. Oh, Confederate statues. Oh, Confederate statues. And I said this: if removing the Confederate statue is going to drop the black on black crime,
not gonna happen.
Cause awareness to how too many of us are financially ignorant.
Not gonna change.
drop the out of wedlock birth.
Not going to change.
And then drop the high prison incarceration. Then take the statute down. Why they want the statues to come down is because, one, white liberals, their white guilt, which is stupid. I cannot stand these white guilt people. And the black leaders whom they picked to be the black leaders aren't producing anything. Republicans are producing more, so they come up with things like Confederate statues as a distraction to what's really going on. I said it before, that Confederate statue of Robert E. Lee ain't hurt me. I walk past a statue of Robert E. Lee here in Raleigh, North Carolina. You have the Confederate statue of the guy he's standing with the cannon. In Durham, they had a Confederate statue that they snatched down. They got locked up for it, and they're like, "Oh, this hurt me." That Confederate statue is not hurting anything. Same thing I said about the Confederate flag. It's not community. The black community has hurt themselves with willful ignorance.
Exactly. Those statues are not hurting anybody. They haven't been for the last 20, 30, 50 plus years that however long they've been up. They are not hurting anybody. And, and the Liberal Party, the Liberal Democrat Party, is part of their ugly history that they want to get out of sight, out of mind. Because soon as conservatives, these Republicans get off their lazy butt and start attacking these Democrats the way they're being attacked on a daily basis. And a lot of them don't want to attack them because they don't want to be considered, I don't want them calling me racist. I don't want them calling me attacking a woman. I don't want to be, associated with that. It's just like Charlottesville. When Donald Trump said there was good people on both sides and there was bad people on both sides, that is 100% true statement. I know some of the people that was holding the American flag at Charlottesville. I've talked to some of those people. They are not racist. They're not hateful. Did you have a few? Maybe you had 15 of them. Maybe you had 30 of them that were completely hate me because of who I am. But there were other people that was there not to support with their ideology, but to support the fact that history needs to stay in place so that way we will remember not to repeat what the ugly Democrats did in the past. That's all what it boils down to. But they don't want that. They want to remove what history is. I've said this before. The Liberal Democratic Party, progressives, the socialists, these communists, they want to rewrite history and they want to change everything and attack everything that God has created. If God created a man, they want to tell a man he could be a woman. When God created man and woman to be married, they want to make it a man and man can be married. When God created just everything natural, they want to take it and make it unnatural. I mean, they do everything completely the opposite of what God created. And that's been the whole agenda from the beginning. The media is controlled by Satan, and the media controls the mindless people in this country.
Well, here's the thing about the media. When they wrote the First Amendment, they wanted a free press so both sides of an argument can be heard. The founders never wanted a quote-unquote opinionated journalism because opinions can be twisted. They wanted factual-based press, or if it was, they wanted it out there so both sides can get heard. What Democrats did was, I said this in the 1960s, people ever wonder what happened to their hippie friend or their Black Panther friend from high school that graduated class of 67, 68? Well, what they did was when to the military or went to college and got jobs, those liberals, the Black Panthers and the hippies, became professors. They became teachers.
Yep, sure did.
And they became journalists.
Sure did.
And they had a plan long before to destroy. Yep. I've always said this about the devil. People get shocked when things happen. Like, the devil's in it. The devil been pushing pause and moving his night long before you noticed it. He doesn't sit there and do something overnight. He does something 20, 13, and 15 years. Because if you talk about gay marriage, how did you get gay marriage now being popular in the black community? You remove the black father. So when the woman, if she gets drunk or she gets high, she has this friend who likes her and she lays up with that. Now you got this this gay couple together. Well, the children are seeing this. Well, mommy look happy. She won't happy with daddy. So this is acceptable. Mm-hmm. And you keep it going. Then you start off, well, mommy was, granddad, he was married to great grandmama, but grandma and granddaddy divorced. Then mama was single because she was never married to daddy, and things was so fine. Oh, things turned out so great. So you're constantly making things worse, and you're making it worse, and you're making it worse. So we look back where this stuff started. Look at the 60s. Matter of fact, Joseph Stalin of the Soviet Union, he said the only way you can destroy America was to, one, separate them from God.
Yep.
Destroy the family.
Yep.
And you can do it. Now, you have this in the 20s and 30s. What did they do? They joined the Democrat Party as liberals and progressives.
Yep, sure did.
Now,
yep.
Then the hippies came about. Now, they already hated America. Then the hippies came on board, have how much they hate America, and America can't do nothing right. So you take all that ideology and you put it together. They have been coming after America for the past 60 years.
You know what? And I heard at the Soul Train Awards, Beyonce. I want to touch on this before we go. Beyonce gave Kaepernick the award, a Soul Train Award, for his what they call it, for his achievements in the community. I'm paraphrasing here. And he basically went on there saying that he's doing everything he can for the community. Even though he's not in football anymore, he's going to keep fighting. He's not doing, you know what? And I've said this from day one with Kaepernick. Had he went out on a football field with 4 white police officers and said, you know what? We need to bring the black community together with the white police officers to try to bring an end to this violence that he's calling a violence, he would have gotten so much support. It would have been ridiculous. But he didn't do that because then he would have been rejected by BLM, the liberal media, the liberal left, these progressives and black people. He would have been rejected by all of them if he would have did the right thing. But he didn't do the right thing because he's working with this elitist group to cause division in this country. What are your thoughts about Kaepernick? Well, did you see that?
No, I didn't, because I haven't watched the Soul Train Award in years because the Soul Train Award went away from being about music to about whatever Democrat came out. So I haven't watched it, but I'm not surprised with Beyonce.
I didn't watch it. I just heard the video clip. I didn't watch it. I heard the video clip on the news, and I didn't want to go watch it. And I'm the one going to go watch it. I wouldn't even went out there to look at it had I not heard it. That's the only reason why I heard about it. I know a lot of people did hear about it.
Well, with Beyonce, I say this about her. You look at her music and what she put out. How is that helping a young black woman be a quote-unquote queen or a princess? You up here shaking your hind part, talking about you doing it for money and all this type of stuff, sexualizing our young girls, showing them that it's your body that propels you to success instead of your mind. So I really, when it comes to her and with Colin Kaepernick, if he really wanted to address the issues of the black community, he will actually talk about the truth about what's going on. Is you got a lot of these black teenagers, a lot, that sit there and have this mentality in their mind that they don't have to listen to authority. They don't care. Let me tell you about this. When a police officer sometimes say, hey, listen, what's going on? Move along, or things of that nature. So they paint this picture that police officers are all wrong. And I said this as well. Don Lemon, the night those 5 officers got murdered in Dallas, him and Barack Obama had did this, the police are hunting black men, and those 5 officers got killed that night protecting a Black Lives Matter march in Dallas, Texas. And the guy who killed them was a Black Lives Matter member. And they tried to separate it.
And then today, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. You're right.
So when I hear, I've always Barack Obama responsible for that. But when you have these drug dealers, they're not building those stores in the black community. They're not trying to open up a shop. They're not trying to do anything positive in the black community, but sit there, go to the club, pop bottles, spend money, spend money, and try to get girls who look like models. Yep. That's all they're doing. Then you got the gangbangers that's shooting, because in some black neighborhoods, the gang violence is so bad, people have to sleep in bathtubs. People forgot how violent the Bloods and other gangs are.
You're right, and they don't even talk about that.
So the police, so when the police come to the community, they're not coming there to give you cookies and ice cream. They're coming to save lives. And you have these idiots like Kaepernick who want to sit there and talk about, quote unquote, police violence. But you're not talking about the violence in the black community, which is it's higher. And here's the thing, quote unquote, police violence against whites are 10 times higher than it is toward blacks.
It is, but they don't want to talk about that because it don't fit their narrative. They don't talk about it because it don't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit them trying to create this racial war between all of us in America, and they're trying to get all of us to fight each other. As long as we're fighting each other, we don't pay attention to them. But because of Donald J. Trump, he opened it all up, and now a lot of people are seeing how truly hateful the liberal left truly is. A lot of people didn't realize it. They didn't realize that it was the liberal left that was pushing God out of everything, rejecting God in everything. And it's only now that we have Donald J. Trump that they're realizing it. Hey, we're at an hour again. We're at an hour again. We're actually over an hour. You know what? And man, I'm so thankful for you to come on with me. This is so awesome. Tell everyone. So I actually created a lower third this time with your name on it, so people can see that. And they can see your Facebook page there. How to get to your Facebook.com/the mind of Jamal. So hey man, you know what? So I'm gonna say this. I'm going down to San Diego this Friday to be there Saturday morning at the wall, because of everything that's going on. And I want to thank you for coming on with me again. You've got to come on again with me. I think a lot of people love the fact that we come on here and we're speaking the truth. We're speaking about what's happening, and we support our president of these United States, Donald J. Trump. And a lot of people don't like it. And you know what? I don't care that they don't like it. I'm a black man and I love this country. And this flag behind me, before we go, I want to say this. I like this flag behind me because during the Civil War wasn't initially over slavery. It was over personal property taxes. It was over territory. It was over money. But as a result of the Civil War, this flag won and black people were freed. And ever since, even before then, this flag has been freeing people throughout the world. That's the reason why I support this flag and support our president and support America. So go real quick. Go ahead and tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, and we'll wrap it up.
Okay. If you want to get a hold of me, it's Mind Jamal, YouTube, Mind Jamal, at Twitter, Mind Jamal, on Facebook. And one thing that's so true about the Democrats and how they are and how they openly despise God, always remember this, people. In the 2012 Democrat convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, here in North Carolina, the Democrats openly booed God. They
Sure did.
openly did that.
Sure did.
And it had to take Barack Obama coming out saying, hey, listen, we going to keep God in a platform for them to keep God in a platform. So if that party is like that, where they are openly booing God, if you call yourself a Christian, baptized in the name of Jesus Christ, and you believe that Jesus Christ is God Almighty, he died, he rose again.
Yes.
Then how can you support a party that hates your father?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. 100%. That's real. That's real deep. Hey, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you, Jamal, for coming on with me. Please go to UniteAmericaFirst.com and, of course, VoteThemOut.org. VoteThemOut.org. All right. Thank you. God bless and good night. Hello, everybody. My name is Will Johnson. I want to thank you for watching. We are actually streaming live on YouTube, and we're streaming live on Facebook as well. Please go to our YouTube channel if you want to get a different viewing experience there. And also, we're on Facebook as well. I want to thank Jamal, the mind of Jamal. I want to thank you again. Actually, everyone, I had Jamal on with me last night, and we did get to finish talking about everything that we wanted to talk about. When we had so much to talk about, so I asked him to come on again tonight. And with the information with Donald Trump saying that he's moving the embassy suite to Jerusalem, I said, Jamal, please come back on with me, because there's stuff we still need to talk about.
And he totally defended President Trump. He says, no, he knows what's going on. Then they tried to say, well, he was so shocked by President Trump's comment. He was like, no, my hat had flew off my head and the sand got in my hair. So I'm sitting up here trying to brush the sand off. And she kept with this attack on President Trump because CNN just got to find something to keep their fake news going strong. They don't even talk about the FBI agent whom that's the Department of Justice got 10,000 of his text messages to show how anti-Trump he is and how influential he was to the Hillary Clinton investigation, and he is one of Mueller's investigators.
Yeah.
And CNN haven't even talked about it.
And they're not going to.
No.
They're not going to, because that just blows their whole narrative out the water. This whole agenda that they're trying to undermine the president, basically they're attacking the president. And it'll blow it all out the water. They don't want people to pay attention to that. You're absolutely right.
See, they were not used to a Republican that fought back, won't apologize for fighting back, and kept his promises to his base. And let me say this real quick, Will. The base of the Republican Party, the Donald Trump supporter, are not racist. They are not bigoted.
Nope.
We are, when you come to a Make America Greater rally, you get the love. When I was there for the first time to do a speech, the first time I did a speech, they were worried about my wife, my children, making sure they was okay. You know, they stood around then after the speech, because we had a few protesters. They were like, hey, we'll walk you to your car because, man, we don't want nothing to happen to you. And I'm like, I'll take care of myself. I defend myself. And when you see this video, I text you about did you ever see the music video? I'm racist.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
In this video,
I'm gonna get my producer to search on that while we're doing this.
It's on YouTube. It's called "I'm Not Racist." That's the video. It's "I'm Not Racist," and they make it look like a Trump supporter who's white just got to say nigga. This is basically, he just came, and I'm like, this is what they're putting out to the black community to say, this is your Trump supporter. Oh, listen to what he got to say about the things about, hey, you need to pull your pants up, you need to get a job, and you need to take responsibility. But he had to say, nigga, this is what he feels in his heart. I'm like, you know what? I have been called, like I told you, I've been called the nigga. I don't know if it's going to be edited out, so I'll say the N-word. I've been called the N-word by white liberals, then Republicans, which is just horrible.
You know what? You're right. You know what? When I hold on. Did you close them? I think you closed this feed. Jamal, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you loud and clear, Will.
I think it was silent.
Okay. Yeah, my producer moved you.
Okay.
Okay.
But Will, I got so mad when I saw that video.
You know what? You're right. Let me say this real quick. When I consider myself a Democrat, this is going to touch right on exactly what you're talking about. When I used to consider myself a Democrat, God help me, I don't know how I used to do that. But I used to consider myself a Democrat, and I would have these conversations on social media with people who call themselves conservatives or Republicans. They never called me these hateful, racist, bigoted names. Never did. Now, they will say that I'm confused, or they said, dude, you don't understand. You're not looking at all the facts, blah, blah, blah. And I have to admit today, they were absolutely right. I was confused. I was not looking at the facts. I didn't pay attention. And then when I became a conservative, when I finally, my eyes opened up, and it took me moving to California for that happening for me. When I moved here to California, my eyes were opened up, and I became a conservative, and the way Obama was doing stuff, it was just ridiculous. And then I started having conversations with those that are liberals, Democrats, progressives. Mm-hmm. They called me some of the most hateful, racist, bigoted names ever. And I learned some. And it came from black liberals and white liberals. I mean, they are the most racist people on the planet.
And like we was talking last night, when you see what President Trump is actually doing for the black community, for the black community,
they want to get into the black community. Should they or should they not support Trump, et cetera, et cetera. So, without further ado, Jamal, thank you for joining me again.
Thank you, Will, for having me back. Last night, I was so excited to be talking to you and experiencing really live for the first time, and that I kind of went rambling and we couldn't get to the points. And I was like, no, I got to come back so we can see here, we can talk and address some of those things that we address some of them, but those other things about how can a black community take the skin off their eyes and see the truth. And especially with today's events with President Trump moving the embassy back to Jerusalem, recognizing Jerusalem as the true capital of Israel, which everyone knew it, but somehow Arab nations get to decide another nation's capital,
Right.
and if it's recognized. And he finally kept a promise that other presidents had been broken. Even Jeb Bush tweeted out.
Sure did. And a lot of people thought Jeb Bush was going to do it. He sure did. A lot of people thought Jeb Bush, when not Jeb Bush, but when Bush Jr. went in, they thought that Bush was going to actually make it happen, but he never did. And see, to me, and now, I never did really care for Bush. And even today, he kind of goes out of his way and undermine our current president. So, I mean, a lot of people, it should be a wake-up call to a lot of people that Bush was part of the establishment as well. So, I mean, so it's what an awesome time to be alive, to see these different events take place. It is amazing.
It is amazing to see the media as well so shocked and so in distraught that a president is keeping his campaign promises.
Yes.
I watched CNN right on about an hour or two with Eric Burnett. She was trying to make fun of President Trump because when he was over there, he said Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and he said that she was trying to make it look like as if he didn't know what he was talking about with the ambassador of to Israel from the United States, with jobs, low unemployment, trying to get us better education. He gave $25 billion to the black colleges, doing things that's going to put blacks back to work, put us, it's embarrassing to say this, Will, but we need, as the black community, we need to get back to the level of the 1980s, because looking at the black community, it's so much violence, so much drugs, and the community don't care. It
is, and they separated, and the liberal Democrat have destroyed the black family, and that was by design. It was by design. And not only have they done it to the black community, they're doing it to the brown community, and they are doing it to the white community as well. They've done it to people across the board to try to keep everybody to be submissive to the government, to look at the Democratic Party as the party for everybody, which is a complete lie.
If you look at their tent, they always say Republicans need a big tent. Okay, in the Republican Party, you have those who support gay marriage; they got a voice. Right. Those who are pro murder, which is abortion, they got a voice in the Republican Party. And I said this before: name me one prominent Democrat that is against gay marriage and will openly say it, or is pro-life that will openly say it, or is pro-religious freedom and will openly say it. Don't come to the churches. Don't come to the community center and say you are. Show me with your vote and with your voice on CNN and MSNBC that you are pro-life, pro-marriage.
They don't do it.
Show me that, and they won't.
They don't do it. They do quite the opposite. They're pro-death. They're pro-killing the child, even after the child is born, you know. And Hillary Clinton said up to the minute of birth, right before the child is coming out the birth canal, kill it. She literally said that. You can kill it right up until birth. So they're completely. Yes. And then the Democratic Party. Now to mind you, there are people, Republicans, that are pretty much sickos too. But Democrats, they will openly support this group Mambla.